Hi, Prof. Parmjit.
Hello, apa khabar?
Hello, how are you?
Very good.
So, shall we start now or you want to wait?
I leave it to you. I got no issue. I'm fine.
Okay, I think we can start now, probably as
Sure.
as follow the schedule is 2 at 2, but now it's 10 minutes already. But
I think it's good to start. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to webinar series for uh, FRGS 2023 research webinar session. So today we have Prof. Dr. Parmjit Singh from Faculty of Education, UiTM Selangor. So as a speaker, as our speaker today, so he will share his insight. Because I know you are one of the evaluator for Ministry of Ed Capiti, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe you can share with us and everyone so that we this year, for next year, 2023, we will secure more FRGS grant. Yeah. So the topic for today is the insight perspective of writing your FRGS proposal. I think, Prof, you can start now, Prof.
Okay. Let me share my slides lah. Yeah. Can you see my screen here? Is my screen on?
Not yet.
Belum lagi ya. Is it on or not yet?
Not yet. Now is the screen from our screen. Okay, now it's yes.
Actually, it's the same screen. Actually, I copied and pasted the same screen as the. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, Dr. Rafeah. I'm given this slot to help out in FRGS for application for 2023, and always RMC renew always start much earlier, because always we hear the rintihan from lecturers that they don't have time. So I think RMC is starting much ahead of time, so that we cannot say you do not have time. But the sad story is we always do last minute. When we do last minute, then we say got a lot of work to do. Yes, agree. Today is the first day of class, and we have a lot to do. But while the class starts today, I think this FRG is something like all lectures are applying all over the country. And I think last year UiTM did quite well. Now we cannot, because previously we always say those non-science, that means from liberal art and social science, always they say the anatirikan, we never get proposal, we don't have always a science gap. But that has never been the case. But since the last few years, I think more effort has been undertaken. And what I will do today, I've been changing my word, the inside perspective. I know there's another talk today by Prof. Noor Hadiani, the do and don'ts, um, the inside story, the right way, wrong way. Actually, this is quite similar what we have been presenting for the past 2-3 years. So what I will present here is based on my perspective on what I've been doing for the past 5 years. What are the things that Kementerian looks at? So again, we are all human, and there are so many accesses for FRGS. Although we have the rubric, although we have supposed to go for all the taknimat end of the day, if that particular person who is evaluating our proposal will decide whether we get or no. As we are all aware, the first criteria when a person write a proposal will go to RMC. Then RMC will have a task panel. RSC will have a task panel, and the task panel will decide to examiners whether your proposal gets accepted or no. And what we usually do is we will accept the first round all proposals. Then first round we will accept it to make changes. Then we proceed from there. Okay. The first thing first, I'll provide the guideline of FRGS. What is FRG? I will not repeat quite a number of things which we are all aware, and how to prepare a competitive proposal, the criteria for evaluation, and why some applications are not successful. So this will be the gist of my presentation. For me, the most important thing is writing a persuasive proposal. What I notice it, there are many who write proposals. They are writing based on cut and paste. I repeat, they're writing on cut and paste. And when they write cut and paste, there's no flow of thought and it's not persuasive anymore. So sometimes to apply for the FRGI, it's good to remove our, like what I always advise my colleagues, okay? I'm not telling you guys to accept it. We always have to remove our PhD hat. And we must put a hat that can be applied, that can be applied in general. So when you write persuasive proposal, number one, involve time. You need time to write a proposal. And you cannot write a proposal overnight, then we accept to be a good proposal. I think time of essence importance. And if we are presenting in December, January, I think the time is right now. Number two, we must do homework. The homework is what are the pertinent issues of the country today. I'm talking in the perspective of social science. What are the important factors that we are facing today, and what is it that you want to do something that is in demand, and also something that can be applied to the masses. Number three, organization. The organization of your write-up is so important. As we write any research paper, that always the first thing come in the statement of problem. It must be a relevant problem. Then you got the background inside that, you got the objective, you got your literature review method, and how you're going to analyze your data and so on. These are fundamentals in organizing, so important. And you need to have the strategy how to persuade the readers. You must make it in such a way your writing skills are good. And the final one, human resource, who are going to be the team members inside your team, and also have a balance of everybody can play their own role. Don't choose just your friends. Some of them will be just sleeping partners inside. I always believe, because in a research team that always comprise, some will be the person who writing the proposal. But to write a proposal, you need to have a second eye. And end of the day, you need some people who are good in, maybe you are doing quantitative or qualitative, or maybe you're expert inside that. But end of the day, I always believe you must have someone who has good writing skills. The good writing skill will help you to write in a persuasive manner, and also a good writing skill will help in your publication. And most important thing, language. The first impression we get is from the language. If the language is full of grammatical mistakes, let me tell you, it's already a no-no. If its grammatical errors is so visible, it's already a no-no for the from the perspective of the evaluator. So this, I think, writing a persuasive proposal, I think is so important. We must write in such a way to say what is the major problem and how do we intend to solve it. Okay, first thing first, the guidelines provided by the Kementerian, they are the funding agency. This is just copy and paste from the guideline of the proposal. It's like writing for an exam. The answer should fit into the answer scheme. And why I say that, because why the KPT has their own criteria. The first criteria is writing your executive summary. Inside our executive summary, they have their own criteria. So we need to follow. You know, example I give you, sometimes we say inside executive summary, we can write references. Yeah, there are people write references, but KPT says don't write references. So sometimes we must abide by the funding agency what they expect from us. Okay, so these are the guidelines. I think we must all read the buku panduan 2022. Okay, and as all of y'all know, it's always why and how. Anybody asks you why and how, I'm also going to tell you why and how. You go and read about this. I will give you this current book, current Garis Panduan. The previous one was 2021. There are slight changes here. I noticed slight changes from 2021, especially the evaluation criteria. So pindah 2022, I think all of us better read this one when we are writing our proposal, finalizing our proposal. And these are the domains. I am talking from the social science and arts and applied arts. Okay, I'm not talking from the pure sciences and technology, mostly from the social science and arts and applied arts. Okay, see here, the objective of fundamental research of FRGI is there is a problem, right? What is it we are going to do to try to solve the problem? So it deals with unresolved problem. When I say unresolved problem, it also means that how to further minimize the problem also. Okay, doesn't mean it's a new problem. If there's a problem, previous people have done, well, what is it that we are going to do to minimize or curb the problem? So fundamental research which involve the exploration of new ideas, concepts, or theories to generate new discoveries, expansion of knowledge and technology to deal with unresolved problems. So you are not looking for a problem here. Our job is to try to solve the problem. Okay, this is when I got it from the 2022. When we look at the first three, this is on page 16, all right? Those who read this one previously was not here. Pendidikan yang I apologize to write in Bahasa Melayu because this was stated in Bahasa Malaysia, right? In this garis panduan. Mestinya pendidikan yang dapat menghasilkan satu idea, teori, konsep yang baru. Dan the second one, pendidikan yang dapat menambahbaikan suatu policy, metodologi dan model penyelesaian yang sedia ada, same as previous 2021 and before. Pendidikan yang merangkumi isu-isu kemanusiaan dan kemasyarakatan bagi tujuan peningkatan nilai kehidupan dalam negara dan sejagat, atau pendidikan yang berpotensi untuk menyumbang pada agenda strategi negara. So these are the things that we'll have to look if your proposal is looking into this area. Again, this is just provided guidelines. Okay, the goal of FRGS to discover, they always use the word new knowledge, Sometimes you can use new knowledge or extension of knowledge. Understanding of physical world that may lead to new theories or extending and refuting existing theories, new models of framework, policy recommendation, improving technology at the fundamental level. And this is all copy and paste, by the way, from a guideline you should know. Okay. This is the Pemacu Socio-Economy. Some you can read yourself. It's a new edition. We will look at majority, we'll look at pendidikan or environment and biodiversity. There's then those from liberal arts and what they can do at culture, arts and tourism. And we also have to state in specific one of these SDG goals. The 17 goal, we must state in specific, your research will be tied down with which specific goal, yeah? Okay. Involves question and investigative practices that are focused on discovering or formulating fundamental principles of human behavior and are generally inspired by the scientist's curiosity rather than attempt to solve a particular problem, answer questions relating to whys and hows, and tend to improve our understanding of the world. So again, I'm going back to why and how, right? Okay. This is a scientific investigation carried out to discover a solution to a practical problem. I will give you examples. I just throw some ideas, all right? I know my colleagues before. I just thrown ideas, which this was around 3-4 years ago. My colleagues, what they did was, the problem was students were not graduating on time. I meant those postgraduate students. These postgraduate students were not graduating on time. So that was a problem, as a nation problem. So what this instructor did was, she wrote a proposal, a new framework, how this possibility of the framework can enhance the process of supervision in order for them to graduate much faster. That's number one. Number two, the issue of, I'm giving just throwing example. Problem was assessment. The assessment were not catering for the needs of adult learners. So what do we need to do so that we can do certain type of new assessments to deal with the current adult learners? Or our assessment does not deal with Gen X or Gen Y or Gen Z or whatever. What is it that we need to do? What framework we need to do in order to cater for these needs? So you see, I'm like, another one was students, their thinking, so-called their mathematical thinking, was not on par on the requirement of STEM education. They had a problem about but I'm talking about mathematics per se. What was the problem? What was the problem? And what is it, a framework or a model can you introduce to curb this problem? You are going to come up with a model, come up with a framework. That's majority of them do. So this is what the title about research grant. What is the problem? Very clear cut. There is a problem, an important problem. You write it in such a persuasive way. And what is it you can do to curb or minimize this problem? Then this program should not be a survey of. And we also we avoid development. Again, let me tell you, although FRGS do not recommend the word development, they do not, but there are people who get accepted, their proposal get accepted. I've seen before. So again, it is strongly suggested not to put the word development, because when you do development, it goes under PRGS. So in this case, possibly try not to use development or design of. So avoid some word we know, like studies, research, and so forth. Okay, the assessment criteria from the top left-hand corner, reflecting fundamental issues to be resolved, brief and reflect the content of the proposal. They are giving examples that was rejected before, right? So that you'll know when we reject, why we reject this one. Forecasting property prices with big data. The title is too broad. It should be more focused, number one. Proposing crowdfunding-based platform model for healthcare financing among B40 group in Malaysia. Title is too plain and not reflect the content of the title. Or the title should be shortened and improvised. Then the last one, pembentukan scheme insurance. So we do not use the word pembentukan or develop or whatever. Tajuk tidak fundamental ke penyelenggaraan pulih FRJ. So again also, whatever you do, we will base with the previous research what other people have done. So we have a plagiarism check here if your topic has been done by previous researchers under FRGS. Okay, how it can be reflected as fundamental issues to be studied. Okay, based on my limited knowledge, to do something of fundamental is like this. There is a problem. You state the problem clearly, and what is it that you are going to do to try to curb the problem? What is it that you're going to introduce a framework, or you're going to introduce a model to curb this problem? Example, and these are all the successful FRGS titles previously. A new corporate efficiency performance measurement model based on data envelopment analysis technique. I'm just showing you the previous successful title, because sometimes the title carries everything, right? But of course, the write-up should be reflected on the title. Second one, a framework for teaching critical thinking through critical reading. Modeling the effects of governance in predicting financial distress. Leveraging formative assessment and transformative learning in higher education. Realizing the aspiration of My Brain 15, developing a framework for success. You see, these are all the successful title. A framework on identity and physical characteristics of Malay Royal Town in Malaysia. Problem-solving heuristic model in enhancing student development of medical thinking. Engaging wellness and e-health promotion framework for the workplace. Student engagement framework for Malaysian higher education. What I'm trying to say here, you notice it. The word framework, the word model or modeling is something that is usually in an FRG. I'm not telling you must do that. That's what is commonly in FRGS titles, commonly. Evaluation criteria, there are 12 main criteria and 27 sub-criteria. Each scoring system, we have weight and scores. Main criteria is from 5 to 25, and method is the highest criteria. Method carries the highest criteria, and the scale is from 1 to 10. And if in any category you have a 4, automatically the proposal is rejected. If you have out of the 12 main criteria and 27 sub-criteria, one of the criteria, assuming that your executive summary was not done well, you got a 4, whereas others you got all 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, your proposal will be rejected. Okay, based on previous rejection by Ministry of Higher Education, the factor penolakan is again the highest weightage. That is the method side. Not fundamental, 150. That will come from the title and how it's reflected in your write-up. Not specific, very vague. This not specific, very vague, it comes when some people are not sure what they are trying to do. It happens when, when we cut and paste. When we cut and paste, we'll say something in the executive summary, we'll say something in the background, something in literature review, and problem statement, and how we are going to collect the data. Novelty simply means nothing new. How will this contribute to the field of knowledge? Poorly written. Track records. Track record simply means here you might have 4 or 5 in the team, but all of you are in the same area, but you are doing an area which you are not expert in it. Doesn't matter if the leader is not expert, but you must have some other people who are experts in that area. So we will also look at the expertise. At this track record, I will always check. We are not, I always say, because we are told to do this checking. If you're doing something of health sciences, and I notice it, and none of the people from health sciences, or we have one in health science is fine. Then we see the leader do not have any experience in graduating any masters or PhD students. In that case also, it will be say a no. So you must have a team with a track record. If the team leader is a young person, does not matter, but overall, the whole team must be able to conduct the research. References, again, we think this is nothing new, but references, one of the fundamental thing is, if majority of your references are more than 5 years old, it's a no. The comment will always come that the literature review should be 5 years or less. But again, I do not deny that it's important to also show previous research, but to talk about the problem statement, it should be less than 5 years. Not of high impact. Your budget, talking about budget, last year, if you are doing a 2 years research, we were told to provide although the ceiling is 250,000 for a 2 or 3 years project, we were told to give around 60, 65, 70,000. That's the budget we always look like. So my suggestion for you is, if you are doing a 2 years research, especially in social science, and if you are doing a post-graduating a master's student by research, 70, 75 is fine. But if you are doing a PhD student, a 3 years project, because of a PhD, the allowance, the GRA is 2,500. Then 2,500 you times by 24, it carries quite. So that one will let you touch around 100,000. Others, no comment, limited funds, or milestone is not there. So these are the analysis of previous years, the rejection of proposal, and it's still going on the same thing. And in terms of here, you can see 21% is on the design. So if 21% on the design, I have myself personally evaluate proposals where the researcher write a proposal with one paragraph. 100% will get rejected. It carries 25%. So just imagine Kementerian is giving a grant and we just write a one paragraph. It will be reject. The simple word is no depth in your write-up of the material section. No depth. So simple as that. You'll be rejected. So my request is, when we write the method section, it's like how we write for our PhD, but you don't have to give 5, 6 pages. Maybe 1 page or 1.5 page, 2 pages. They want to show, because this 25%, you might want to write the design of study. Okay. Then you might want to do who are the samples going to be involved. And sometimes, if you, in fact, who are the samples and how many samples are fine. However, sometimes they will also ask you, how did you derive on that particular number of samples? So sometimes it's good briefly, who are the samples, how the sample be selected, and the total number of samples, and how was these total numbers derived. There are some few paragraphs, just copy somewhere and paste it, and it will persuade people. If you do not know, you can talk to me later how to write this one. Do not let, because why? Design, then samples, under samples and sampling procedures, then the instrumentation. The instrumentation, if you are doing quantitative or qualitative or mixed method, you need to provide the instrument for each, the details of the instrument. Then how are you going to analyze the data? Although sometimes we use inferential statistics or whatever, but some readers, they expect to know more, whether are you aware how to analyze the data. Nowadays, people are looking at different type of method like PLS or SCM or whatever. Well, for me, it doesn't matter use PLS or SCM or whatever. Some people are using PLS for the sake of using it. You must remember, one of the limitation of PLS is good to have PLS, but don't do for the sake of writing the partial least square. Because remember, PLS can only use when your dependent variable is a latent variable. I repeat, PLS can, there's one of the fundamental limitation of PLS. PLS can only be used when the dependent variable is a latent variable. Latent variable, that means you use on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 or 1 to 10. But if you are doing a new model to enhance students' academic performance, of course, you do not want latent variable to ask student to feel, has your performance increased or has been enhanced. Rather, if you have objective data, will carry more weight than just a latent variable. And remember, latent variable was used, started off in School of Medicine. The objective of latent variable is when we do not have one instrumental to objectify the data. Simply meaning, if we have an instrument to see students' score, we have CGPA, we have test score, and so forth. School of Medicine started this because when we go and visit a doctor, and a doctor will ask, you got stomach ache or certain pain or whatever in our stomach or in our hands, they'll ask, what's the level of this level of so-called pain you're having it from 1 to 10. It's an ordinal scale, 1 to 10. Very little, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is latent variable. Why latent variable was introduced? Because doctors, the medical practitioners do not have one instrument to provide an objective data, the level of how much severity of the pain a person is feeling. So that's why latent variable used for that. I'm not going to go into that so much. Okay, the first impression is very, very important. The first impression when we write our proposal is our executive summary. This executive summary, after the title, the executive summary will paint a picture of your whole research. If your executive summary is something persuasive, if your summary is something that is so is and let me tell you, to write an executive summary is the most difficult thing because they allow you only 300 words. It should be precise and concise. In an executive summary, what we have: problem statement, objective, method, expected outcome, significance of output, and this should be in your own words. And please do not put in references. Yes, I agree. Certain abstracts, other places in the world, they do put references, but in here we do not encourage. So if the evaluator says do not put references, I think sometimes we just follow. And because there is this criteria, so boleh do not put references. Here, the weakness where in this here is problem statement. Sometimes we write problem statement so long because remember we are only given 300 words. If we write the problem statement for too long, it takes what 2/3 of your 300 words. If 200 words is problem statement, we do not have time to write or do not have the space to write the method section, uh, the, the outcome and significant output. So there should be a balance. This objective, another one more thing here. The objective of study should be stated in a general manner. The objective of study is not supposed to be the same way how we write in our objective in our section 1.3. You know, the objective of this research is 1, 2, 3. If we write in that particular way, the objective will carry around 100. That objective will carry around 100 words. We won't have place to write the other statement of problem, the method, and so forth. So my suggestion to you is the objective should be encompasses all the three. We should write in a macro level rather than a micro level. Okay, it should be brief in your own words. Okay, no references. Okay, when we evaluate, you see this how we write a 300 words. The executive summary is there, the problem statement is there, objectives are there, the methods are there, output are there. So remember, method is very important. This method should be carry out. Don't say here I'm using quantitative, but in your research method section you're using mixed method. Here I've come across, here some people say you are using college students, but when you go in your sampling side you say you're not using college students. So it should, that's why remember just now I told you human resource, get other friends to read your work critically, because sometimes when we write we'll come to a stage or saturation point, false, everything is correct. Get someone else to look at it. So here, the output, the end of the paragraph, try to relate it to one SDG policy. Relate to one of SDG policy or a significant output. Okay, in the background, they have all these problem statement, hypothesis, research question, reviews, references, and relevant common policy. Problem statement, write in your own words. Okay. When you write in your own words, that's why you need help from someone to write. We can see whether that person writing by itself or they cut and paste. When you cut and paste, then when you go into the whatever the Grammarly, the software, it can be all over. Language is so important. The flow of thought should be there. Then come to the hypothesis. Okay, let me tell you one more thing of this hypothesis. Hypothesis in a write-up of FRG's proposal is our expectation or what will be our prediction of this research. It's not the HO, H1, the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis in statistical analysis. This is the one where many people say no hypothesis for this research. I beg to differ. The hypothesis is an prediction. Based on the model that we are proposing, it will curb or it will help to elevate the product. That's what we expect from the research. So the hypothesis here is not the so-called quantitative hypothesis of HO and H1. And also don't say no hypothesis and this hypothesis only for quantitative. It's not that. Research questions. Try to relate the research questions with your objectives, and also try to use the word how and why inside. If you put how and why, make sure in context, there won't be any issue. If you don't, if you put what, they'll straight will say it's not fundamental. So to overcome this problem, my dearest colleagues, try to use how and why inside research question. And don't write 7, 8 research question. Although I understand that when you do a quantitative study, there are so many research questions. But you make it a general statement research question, must be a research question in manner. If you have 3 objectives, maybe 3 research questions and so forth. Okay. Literature review. Don't, again, must understand in KPT level, each of us will have 20 proposals. 20 proposals. To have 20 proposals, and also we do not want to, and we are not going to read all the proposal at one time. To read one proposal, for me, to evaluate one proposal will take at least 1 hour. 1 hour to evaluate minimum 1 hour, because to read few times and understand what you all are trying to do. What usually to write in a persuasive manner, your literature review, provide a small introductory passage, introduction, then what will be encompasses inside here, then also provide like subsection. If you provide subsection, then we can relate it with your variables of study. Again, literature review should be related with your variables of study. Very, very important. And majority must be less than 5 years. More than 5 years you can have, but try to make it, don't make the evaluator say majority are more than 5 years. Try to curb this problem. Have subsection, have a framework, and try to have a summary. Let me tell you, to write a conclusion of literature review is not easy. So if you write the conclusion and it makes sense, that means that you will try to impress the assessor. That's why I think it's a teamwork. Get few people and how to write, get a person who is good in language. Language plays a very important role here. Then related references. Okay. When we write references, please do not say no research has been done. When you say no research has been done, then you will make the like if someone tell me no research has been done, I will go into literature and find. If I find 2 or 3, I'll put there, I say this research is outdated. Rather than saying no research, say very few related research. Number 2, many people make this mistake. They do a research, a problem statement, and realizing it, the answers for the problem statement has already been answered inside literature review. I repeat, when we tend to copy and paste too much, we don't read the literature review. What we will do, many issues of concerns in the problem statements of previous research, and You will say, this fellow said this fellow said this, and he answered this. This is the reason why students are facing difficulty. And yet you are doing the same thing. So I always come out in this case, why are you repeating when you already know the answer by researcher A in 2017, 2008? What is it you are doing? You are trying to find out the problem and how to solve it, and yet the answer is already available. So that's why sometimes it must be something so-called new problem, and how are you going to solve the problem? I hope it makes sense. Relevance to government policy. Make sure if you are doing on in liberal arts or social science, relate to one of the SDGs policy. As long you relate to one specific policy, no one can say it's not relevant to the government policy. According to Malaysian Education Blueprint 2015, 2025, blah, blah, blah. According to SDG goal number 14, blah. Just write down this one as long as your research is related to that. I hope I'm making sense here. Huh? Okay. These are the examples the panel will try to find faults. Number one, high volume literature already available on this net. Literature review too lengthy. Literature review is too lengthy, let me tell you, because those who finish their PhD who have written 20 pages, they'll try to write 7 pages, copy paste, and I will know there's no flow of thoughts. So literature review must not be too lengthy also, and human being also. If too lengthy, the more you write, the more issues going to come up because you don't know what you are writing. Precise and concise. Too many research questions. That one sometimes it's a very subjective statement. Okay, I'll not answer that, because if you are doing qualitative, make science 3 objective, 3 research question, but sometimes for one objective you can have subsection research question for quantitative. And the research question are all in the form of what? You can have what? Although our objective is how and why, I'm not telling you cannot have what. You can have the subsections inside that. Application not fundamental, or poor rational justification. There's a problem statement is something, right, in your own words. You should have read and you know what the problem is and how, write in a persuasive manner so that when we read it, we find it so interesting. Then cited the last 5 years, as spoken just now, in line with government policy. There you see which government agenda is related to this project. Objective, one of that is SMART. SMART simply means it's specific, it's measurable, and so forth. Here, the comments will be too many research objectives. My suggestion, put 3 or maximum 4. Objectives are not clear. Again, the objective, we will look back at your problem statement, literature review, and your title. Then objektif tidak dapat dicapai melalui, you see here, I said I copy and paste the comment from the one of the assessor. Objektif tidak dapat dicapai melalui method yang digunakan. So in the research method, we should be clear which objective in line with which data collection method. Then objective need to be redefined and focused. Then under the related problem statement, objective are not aligned with research question. The first objectives must relate to the promise. So these are all fundamental things. I think all majority of us who have already got that level of PhD or what we are supervising, so we should know all this. And let me tell you, it's very, very specific. We have to do in great detail because government is giving us fundings. They will not give us fundings for no apparent reason. So they must assure that we are able to carry out this research. The objective, I think all of us are aware of it. The left-hand side is a yes. The right-hand side is to avoid it. This is not good. Apakah elemen yang ambil kira? Apakah that is a no-no. You see all the what. These are all examples of FRGS proposal I'm putting here. These are examples which I plucked out. and I'm showing here, and it was rejected. That means this person has not been reading the criteria, or I think UiTM has done so many FRGS seminars and webinars. Last year itself, there were 7. Last year itself. And this year, today itself, I think, or 2 or 3. We'll be starting from now onwards, but I think we should relook at the types of questions. Not good to profile. It's a no-no. To describe and deeply understand, it's a no-no. Okay, these are the one examples that is accepted. When I say accepted, that's already been accepted under the FRGS grant, yeah? To investigate the effect of problem-solving heuristic model in enhancing student development method thinking, to examine the difficulties faced by students, and to propose a refined model. Is it accepted? Or then you see now, if this was the objective and similar research question, what are the effects of the problem solving heuristic model, to what extent, and blah blah blah. Method 25%. This will decide whether you get how high the score, because it's 25%. Here, this will determine the costing of your budget. Poor method will reflect the ignorance of the grant writer, not clear what to do. I have personally seen so many proposals. They write in 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph, will 100% be rejected. I repeat, I personally look at so many proposals, and they will just write 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph, encompasses everything. It will 100% be rejected. As I told you all earlier, in the method section, what we are looking at, you must have the design. Then you must have the so-called population sampling. You must have the instrumentation. Then you must have the how you're going to analyze data and how you're going to collect the data and so on. This all fundamentals must be inside. And also, it's good to give the flow of your framework activity. So these are what the fundamentals should be there. I will always suggest to break up into sections: approaches and design, samples and population, instrumentation, data collection. You write in short section. I'm not asking that 5-6 pages. 1.5 page, maximum 2 pages enough, because this is 25%. So don't write little, write more. And also, I notice it, majority of the successful proposals are those where flow of thoughts, flow of activity, they do in diagrammatic form. Let me tell you, in my case, all my FRGS proposals has some diagram or some framework to show the activity, all my successful one. So they are looking at this also. But I'm not telling you you must do, but I tell you, majority with a successful one, they have the so-called research activities. Again, it's not compulsion, but it's a suggestion. A proposal with 1 paragraph and few sentences of method will be rejected. Divide the methods into subsection so that reviewer can see the flow of thoughts. Brief explanation, how will you interpret and analyze the data? Maybe statistical analysis that will be used. Also, if you are doing qualitative, you must also mention how the data will be collected, what the type of question going to be used, and how your data will be analyzed. Include all relevant details, explain what do you plan to do, how, where you plan to study, samples from equipment use, sample size, number of tests to be done. Sample size importance is a bearing for project cost. Sample size is important. Because sometimes if you put sample size, you say I'm going to use 350. If you use 350, then sometimes they'll ask you, how did you derive 350? So sometimes it's good to put how did you derive the so-called 350. Expected results, new theories. I'm sure I'm boring you guys, no? I'm boring you guys down. This is what the fundamental new theories based on your research. If your proposal is not clear, we'll say not visible. Any new theories are expected to come out. Publication in index journal. Again, please do not say, I'm going to publish in a Q1 journal. Again, you see, there's many school of thoughts here. Sometimes they say, name the journal. If you name a journal, it's fine. But do not name a journal where none of your members has any publication in that journal. I'm going to publish a journal in a nature journal. But none of your members have publication there. So rather than mentioning that journal, rather keep quiet. And also the current criteria is you must have one at least in WOS. Previously, they said 2 index. Then they will use the words corpus, era. But now they have one must be WOS. One must be WOS. So you have WOS as corpus, you'll be fine. Impact on society, economy, and nation. And you must be specific on the government policy which will benefit this research. Track record. This is what always the team leaders will look at it. You have 5 members. 5 members are from the same faculty. Then most of the time I notice it, these members do not have any postgraduate students. You are required to come out with one postgraduate, master's or PhD. But none of the members have graduated any student. That would be a no-no, would be rejected. That's why this one we call a track record. Make sure you have at least 1 or 2 members in the team has graduated postgraduate student. We will look at that. Number 2, we will look at the CV. Many of the time, the CV is not complete. Publication not written. Postgraduate not written. So when these are not written, we will say based on the CV provided, the track record and the composition of team member is imbalanced. We'll put that. We'll put reject. So rather than giving an opportunity for the evaluator to reject, make sure you have the criteria. Number 1, among your 3, 4, or 5 members, there must be at least 1 or 2 who have graduated postgraduate students. Number 1. Number 2, make sure the research which you are doing, you have members, team members who are expert in that area. Previously, I have one, they were school of, I won't say which school, they were doing an area which was not in their area. I repeat, it was area of health, but not from School of Health or some other people, other faculties. And none of the members has any publication inside that particular area. So what we'll say, the track record is imbalanced because do not have any specialists into that area. How we will check? Based on the CV provided on the publication. If your publication, say you are doing about teaching and learning, and none of the members has done any research on teaching and learning, how will we know? Based on the publication. And if you do not provide any CVs on their publication, we will say imbalanced team. We'll give a 3, your proposal will be rejected. So rather than that, make sure you get a good team for it. Qualification rank of research. Again, there's no such thing as the team leader must be a professor, senior. Anybody can be. Can be a junior lecturer, not an issue. If there's a junior lecturer, please go. I think university looking for junior lecturers to write, but make sure you have some senior members inside to guide the team. The reason is because the government is giving us 60,000 or 70,000. They do not want to waste this money, or they do not want this money going to waste because it's taxpayers' money. So they must ensure that this research can be carried out accordingly. Well-balanced project. Dia say pasukan, this comment, pasukan pendidik tidak cukup kuat. I don't know what it means. Hanya 2 ahli termasuk ketua pendidik. Pendidik bersama juga bukan dalam bidang yang sama. You see, they look at that area, specialist area. So be careful, all this. We think is only 5%, as I told you earlier. If one of the criteria, you from scale 1 to 10, you get a 4, although it's 5%, your proposal will be rejected. Quality of proposal, how meticulous is it? Language, you see, we have a section on language and formatting and presentation. So this one carries a lot of how we write. That's why the word persuasive writing is so important, and make sure there must be a second reader and third reader to check what we are writing here. Because sometimes only one or two going to write, and a third person have a second eye, a third eye to check the quality of the proposal. It's 10%. Then novelty, if your write-up is not clear, we will say no element of effort. It's very easy to write. Tidak disebut ada hasil teori baru. Not recommended or not fully. This is one of the easiest to write if they do not understand what you are writing. So to avoid this, make sure it's crystal clear what you are doing, why is it fundamental. Okay, that for the past 2 years, this patent, collaboration, and risk. Okay, patent, we have to do a patent search here. We have to do a patent search here, we must put inside there. That one not an issue, everybody is doing it. The issue is with collaboration. With collaboration, we cannot accept an email, yes, I will collaborate with you. We cannot accept that. We need to accept with a what do you call that? The letterhead from that particular industry or organization or whatever. And we cannot say also, we will help you for the data collection. Again, that is not collaboration. So we need to have a proper formal letter with a letterhead to say how we are going to collaborate. So nowadays they are very matic. Although, listen, this is a very minute area. This is a very minute area, but I think it will not be a difficulty to have collaboration with other industry. They look for industry. If they look for industry, just ask what role will the industry play for your research. If you do not have, then don't put, but it's good to have. This will give you extra 5 points. So again, the collaboration is not through email, is not accepted, and you get one industry from your friend. Yes, we will help you for data collection, is not accepted. Nowadays, they are looking at the content of the letter and how will they collaborate. Okay, you need to write a letter, they need to write a letter on how they will collaborate. This is sample of comments lah. See, you all can read here. These are the actual comments provided. 3/4 of the executive summary focus on problem statement. If 3/4 is focus on problem statement, that means you do not have place to write your objective, methods, and outcome. The second one, the background is blah blah blah. You see, when we this one, we will have to give statement inside here. The third one, the method, it adequately address all sections. However, no discussion of how objective 3 of study, namely to validate. So in this case, there were 3 objectives. How objective 3 will be established? So we need to show you have 3 objectives, how all the objectives phases in the data collection should be discussed specifically. Again, how the data for all the objective data be collected will be analyzed and so forth. So the expected finding, the gap in the background is very, very important to show the gap between previous research and new research. Similarly, in the literature review, it's very important to state the gap between previous research and what we are going to do. They are looking for the gap. I think before they ask for the gap, we write the gap in our write-up. Okay, I explained just now the title, executive summary, background, objective, method, expected results, track records, quality of proposal, the novelty, cutting edge, and high impact. These are the criteria for a successful proposal. Okay. I think I explained everything, and please do it each thoroughly. If one of the sections we got a score less than 5, the overall proposal will be rejected. If one of the sections, they say all the sections are very, very important, but let me highlight, method carries 25%. So methods is very, very important. The executive summary is the first impression that you give the reader. If the first impression you give the reader is not persuasive enough, then let me tell you, there'll be a. That's why I say always important to get somebody's help to do the write-up. Then we have all the sub criteria. We're altogether 27 sub-assessment criteria. And this is how it looks like. I know some of y'all, most of y'all have done already. And whenever we give the comment, if we give a set 4, we give a 4 here, and we have to write a comment why we gave a 4. And this, when we give back to for the researchers to relook at the proposal, is the job of the researcher to change it. And let me tell you, many of the times when we return back the proposal, and let me tell you, there are many of times we all think we should reject the proposal because there are too many loopholes. However, we are always asked to return back for the first time, at least give the chance to the person who wrote the proposal to amend it. Yes, to amend it, make sure we amend it because we can differentiate where you amended, where you did not amend. So, happened before, when we suggest to amend, based on the criteria provided, yes, the researcher can propose or can argue back. They have a column, I do not agree with your views and so forth, blah, blah, blah. They have statement like that. Good. However, my suggestion for you, those people who are evaluating, they has been in this for many, many years. So if they ask something, if it's unless it's very clear they are not sure, but if they ask something to do, just do it, will be better for you. If you said no, you try to this one, then based on the assessor, he will base on what he thinks is right, will definitely be rejected. If we do not accept the points made by the author. Example I give you, we write for publication, right? With publication, say this the reviewers commented ABC, 2 reviewers commented that, but the person who wrote the paper disagree. If 2 reviewers said that and you disagree, let me tell you, if you do not do it, fine, they reject your paper. So no, what I'm trying to say, why want to find faults on this? They ask you to do some minor amendment, just do it. Sometimes we have this ego thing within us, is I know everything. We have this thing, I know everything, I know the best. Sometimes we have to let go the one, let the people who do it, let them do their job, so make your life so much easier also. But again, let me tell you, you can defend if you do not agree with the points raised by the reviewer. Background, objective, no clarity. These are all the comments. And when we give comments, we will give proper comments, by the way, long comments, so that these are all examples of the comment given. Expected, as you see now, track record, based on CV provided, hardly any publication by any of the members on school mathematics teaching and learning. Not a balanced team because no member of the team has any school very experience, postgraduate school. So you see, here they wanted to do about school, but none of them has any experience. How do we know they don't have experience? We look at their publication. If the CV is not complete, we will assume you do not have any experience. So that's why it's very, very important for all the members to have their CVs updated inside. This was a previous year. 30-40% of total number of applications, the success rate, to award not more than 60,000 plus for each successful applicant. Each panel will give about 20. That's what we were given, around 20 projects to evaluate. Okay. So if you write your budget around 70, 75, 80, I think it'll be excellent. Or maybe 190 so you can test the water. But don't suddenly put 120,000. Condition you're doing one master student. If you're doing a PhD, then it's different, because PhD, the criteria, the maximum you're allowed to give 2,500. Okay, let me tell you. If you put 2,500 and you times by 36 months, and if your proposal is not that good, we will surely reject it. Why should I want to give you 100 based on the budget for the RA? It comes to 60 something thousand, unless your proposal is very good. So again, psychology, they'll give you 70,000 plus minus 80,000. To make it easy way, you get one masters for a 2 years is fine. If you're doing a 3 years, I think they need, if you're doing a 3 years project, you need either one PhD or two masters for 3 years. One PhD, two masters. Not coursework is not allowed. I repeat, coursework is not allowed. Okay, this is the dichotomy goals between IPT and KPT. IPT to accept as many. Let me tell you, last year I think we got a record numbers of applicants. We got so many. I think that's a very good, the culture is coming in UiTM. Many people are applying. I think this is excellent, because more people, I think RMC, Renew are doing a fantastic job. They are giving more chances for everybody to apply. However, the KPT job to reject as many. So this is a dichotomy situation between both the IPT and KPT. IPT, we're looking at your strengths. What are your strengths that rectify? KPT, very simple. One, if within all 12 sections, you have one mistake, we'll reject yours. So that was their criteria. If you do not adhere to the specification provided by the guideline, their job is to reject. Your title, executive summary, background, everything is excellent. But your team members is not good, they will reject it. So again, all the criteria are important. Make sure you address all of them adequately. Assemble a competent team. Again, I think we should stop this culture of you join my team, I join your team. It was good before. I think if we want to progress further, provide evidence, past work to show their ability to execute the project successfully. What I'm trying to say, if you are the team leader, I don't think you will have time to do everything. I don't think you can be able to go and do the logistic work. You can go into the field, you can do everything. So make sure you get a balanced team, some experienced, intermediate, and youngs, and where the young one can do more of logistic work, can go into the field. Of course, the leaders will go, but there'll be some runners inside team, and also there will be people who can write very well. Let me tell you, writing is so important. Write a succinct, clear, logical, and cohesive executive summary with a compelling argument as to why the study needs to be done. I think this is clear. Ensure that your methodology is clear. Show how important is for national interest under the NPA or NKRA education blueprint. How is this research related to education, related to a certain government policy? Inside the executive summary, the last statement, it must be related to a national policy. Then inside your background, there's another section stated how is this related to a certain national policy and so far. I think very important. That is not a so difficult thing. You can just take from any of this one and just copy and paste, as long as you have it there. Write clear and convincingly. The output, provide a reasonable budget. don't apply for budget. Again, I'm not, the maximum ceiling is 250. I've never come across so far for the past 6 years, anybody got more than 200,000. I never come across that. I will come across, like last year, we give 130, 140 for those who did a 3-year project with a PhD student. Although they say maximum, unless the research you are going to do is going to solve the problem of the world, which I do not know, but on average, 70, 80,000. So if you put a budget around 90, they might give you around 80 or 75. I think you put plus minus 85, then they'll say it's a good budget. But also make sure the budget is written accordingly. Don't overestimate. Okay, to write the budget, salary for masters of 1,008 will come to around 44,000. Traveling, the traveling here, if you are going for overseas conference, you can put your budget here. You're traveling for data collection and so forth, you can put inside here 13,000. Rental, research materials. Now for the research materials, so difficult, they do not allow you to buy papers. They do not allow you to buy the cartridge for the printers. I do not want to comment on this. Then professional services, 29,000, and accessory. This one, you see how other people apply, all right? The ceiling is 250,000 for 2 or 3 years, I told you just now. 11,000 is upah allowance untuk pembantu pendidik siswasa. Okay. Remember that if you give a person, although the master's is 1,008, PhD is 2,005, not necessary you must give them 2,005. That's the maximum ceiling. You want to give 2,000 also can. It's your wish, your prerogative that you want to give 2,000 or 1,008. If you give 2,000 a month, right? So 1 year is 24,000. If you do in 2 years project, it's 48,000. 3 years project is 72,000. Okay, remember, one of the biggest issue of FRGS in the country today is we are not having students graduating as a GRA. I repeat, one of the biggest issue we are facing is the student who are like a GRA, they are not graduating. Okay, to do wireman, you are allowed to do wireman once a year. Okay, so you can do wireman from your 11,000 to, because the bulk of your budget will be sitting in vote 11,000. Perjalanan dan pengangkutan, this one will be based on your data collection, where you're going from campus A to campus B, or your team member is from Sabah flying down to Shalam and so forth, or you're going to Sabah, whatever. Then your flight tickets included here. Sewaan here usually means if you're renting computers or whatever you're doing for a project, you need to have like a workshop, you're renting computers for that. Bekalan dan bahan pendidikan, nowadays they do not allow stationaries, and especially it's quite difficult for social sciences. Then buy puleh dan ubah swai, it means your computer, you can upgrade your computer, add more RAMs and so forth. What 29,000 is paying the fee for a conference, then you're paying honorarium to some experts to us to evaluate, or you are giving some honorarium, a token of appreciation to those who participated in your data collection, the students or the experts and so forth. It comes under vote 29,000. My suggestion is always fill up vote 29,000 as more, because this is the most general among all other very specific. But vote 29,000 is where you can use for many general purpose. You see a fund, you're not allowed to buy communication equipment, office equipment, workstation, laptops, iPad, handphone, printers, toners, stationery, and any of purchases that are not directly related. Let me tell you, I up to now I don't understand, because what I did ask personally, I did ask the Katua from KPT, when you use the word stationery and purchases for social science is so useful. Her words were, we say that are not related, but sometimes we take blankly that cannot apply, cannot buy. So again, many people have tried, but RMC will reject it. So stationaries are not allowed. For overseas traveling, you're only allowed to go overseas. This was in 2021. You are only allowed to go for a conference after the first year, because it does not make sense to go on the first year when you have not started your data collection. So they say the second and third year. If third year, they mean you're three. But in the current 2022, I did not see this statement there. As I was going through yesterday and today also, I read the whole guideline for Pindaan 2022. They did not have this. No overseas focus. Then purchase of books and journals are not allowed. Why some applications are not successful? Unfocused research. Principal investigator has no relevant knowledge or the proposer is not qualified. Again, when I say not here, I'm talking the team line, not the individual. Does not lead to new finding, new theory, and new generation. This is because your writing, that writing was not good enough, not persuasive enough for the evaluator to understand what you're trying to say. Objective not clearly spelled out, not fundamental, because too many what. Lack of specific research problem, or not in the national interest. That's why not in the national interest, your study must be related to a specific national policy. Outcome is not clear, unrealistic scope, too ambitious or very limited. I think our objective is not to solve the problem of the world, a small problem. Does not follow guideline, especially on the budget. This is how you register with my grant. Start writing today, and that's all, folks. I think I bore you down for very long already. I think I will stop here. If you have questions, you can ask me now. Ada soalan mau tanya?
Yeah, is there any question from audience? Maybe you can write through the chat column. Maybe just like unmute the microphone or open up the camera, then can ask the question to Prof. Prof, there is a question from the chat column. So, Prof, will there be any implication if we cannot find a GRA?
Okay, my suggestion for you is you do not say at the entry point, you will say you will try to get a GRA. However, there are many cases where you cannot get a GRA because majority of GRA do not like the topic which we are doing and so forth. However, I think at current time, RMC will try to help you to get one. This is a national problem, not only UiTM, not only our problem, it's a national problem, but usually is why we don't get GRA at time is because the students are not aware what we are doing. Just imagine if you are doing GRA, you got a GRA, and students are being paid 2,000, 2,005 a month, they will definitely grab this topic. GRA will definitely grab if they know what you are doing and they can be part of your master's or PhD. But they are not aware of it. So I think one is promotion. Once your faculty having interviews, then at least you can recommend them. 100% they will definitely want to participate. So I think you don't worry about that. RMC will help you. IPSIS will help you to promote what you are doing so that somebody can grab this opportunity. That's my answer.
Okay, there is another question, Prof.
Yeah.
Salam sejahtera, Prof. How many references should be in literature review, Prof?
We don't count how many. Hardly we don't count how many, but you don't make two, 3 pages. So far, there's no such thing. They say how many you need, but they always say make sure it's less than you. No, not there must have new version because your problem statement will be on current literature. So don't use your problem statement of old literature and you say there's a problem. So it must be what they said, focus more on literature review that is less than 5 years. So again, to answer your question, how many, there's no such thing as how many is suffice, right? You got 20, 25, good enough. Again, you can have more or slightly less, doesn't matter. But we do not look at you got too many, because sometimes when you have too many, you just cut and paste only. Rest or not. We always take for PhD, cut, paste, that. So if you want to make sure that person's citation is pertinent in our write-up, then it's fine. Just don't cut and paste from our PhD thesis. That's what usually many those finish their PhD, they are doing that. That's my response for that. I hope it sufficed my answer.
Prof. Parmjit, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Your voice is very upper covered.
Guy here.
Yes, I know from your voice, you got a very distinct voice. Very nice voice. Yes, upper cover.
Are you fishing for compliments? Good, I'm good.
Hey, it's compliment, by the way, the positive compliment.
Okay, I have this question about putting a document from REC. REC takes quite a while to approve. What would be your advice?
Okay. In my case, because our faculty is facing the same problem. You see, the current strength is we do this one, we'll submit to the faculties. Faculty will submit up to the RMC side. And in my case, was quite fast, In my case, was very fast. I think now the upper management of RMC, they are doing much faster than previously. Because if those who are doing FRGS and PhDs master, they must send to RMC, correct? And they are much faster now compared to previously. There were a lot of complaints. Even my 2 research grants, I got that results very fast. When I wrote inside, they asked me to do some amendments. I did amendment the same day when I submitted. Within 2 weeks, because they have their monthly meeting. So if we can know when their meetings are, it'll be so much easier, I think so. I think previously, yes, was take some time, but now it's quite fast. That's my response.
You're very lucky because the people who handles REC is very prompt, but not my faculty. Until now, 3 months I've submitted, no answer.
That is wrong. That is something definitely wrong.
All right, thank
then you must push the faculty whether it has been reached up or not.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Tak ada soalan lagi.
No more question at this moment, Prof.
Very good. That means semua pun jelas dan clear.
Yeah.
Either is too jelas or langsung tak jelas.
Exceedingly clear.
That's very good. Okay, my suggestion for you all, right? That is based on my experience, okay? Sometimes when we do a proposal, make sure the proposal is going to solve a problem for the masses. I repeat, try to do something that will solve the problem for the masses. Example, when my colleagues or whatever they do a research, when they do about assessment, it's a university problem. When you do a problem that students are not graduating on time, it's a university problem. When you do a research, when the way students learn is a university problem. So do something where the problem is by all the faculties. And what is it that you are going to do? Because that reader will be someone not from our university, or from different university. And let me tell you, all people who are welding are different. Let me tell you, we have 5 fingers, all of 5 fingers. Although we have all the rubric and so forth, yet end of the day, it depends who is the person who will be evaluating your proposal in the KPT level especially. So that's why your proposal must be something, make it like something like ambitious, not, they cannot be solved, something really pertinent problem, and you are trying to come out with the so-called new model to solve it. That must be something that is prominent, and there's some, the state problem, this is the problem statement must be in such a way that is really, really pertinent. Don't do something, I'm not thinking reme. If you do something on PhD, right, the PhD is really something very small and deep inside and focus on one certain small group only. That's my only thing. I don't know, that's my suggestion going to be.
Prof,
Yes.
there is another question. Is it better to focus on one big problem or several problems in the problem statement section?
Okay, good question. Usually you need both. Usually when there's a big problem, okay, I throw one idea to you guys, right? I throw an idea to you guys. Example now, what's a big problem we are facing? What's the big problem we are facing? Example, inflation of grades. It's just, let me tell you, anybody do this topic will be a very big issue problem statement. Inflation of grades is a big problem. Is there inflation of grades? Answer is yes, right? What are the things that is happening because of this? Then you have one big problem. Then you have how to overcome these small areas. That means you need one big to set the scene, and what are the several problems that are the subset of the big problem. You will need both definitely. So again, it's a very good criteria. You see, when you have a big problem, that going to be your aim of your study. When you have the sub problem, that's going to be the objective of your study. So when you put inside your executive summary, you're going to put a big problem, one big problem. When you put inside your objectives, of course, you have a statement, problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, how to overcome this problem. The same thing you will go through across all your write-up. So again, yes, there's going to be one big problem, and to have the big problem, there must be some sub-problem within it. I hope I answer your question. If you put one big problem, then it will not be specific. So you must have, from the big problem, what are the small problems that clarify this big problem. I just suggest to some of you all to do inflation of grades. That is a big issue going on, not in the country only, not in UiTM only, in nationwide. Hardly any research is being done on this. What can you do to overcome this problem? I can just give you one topic. And many people will see that, you know why? When you do something, very few people have done on this one. If you do on this, and what is it you can do to minimize that? I'm just giving one suggestion, Shadala, but no, just ideas saja. I hope okay, by the way, about your one big problem and several problems, I hope I answered your question. That was from Nadia, Nadia? Okay. Another question, Nadia. Will combination of method should better chance of winning? Okay. Frankly speaking, man, I use the word frankly speaking. My friend also say, why is it frankly? I say yes. If you use quantitative and qualitative, you will have a better chance. Why? I'm just telling from a neutral perspective. Reason is because if you do quantitative per se cannot answer the question how, why, unless you try to use this SEM and PLS. And these are all statistics only. So when you talk to a qualitative person, he will say statistics are doing just significant, so what? But you ask the statistician, who ask the qualitative person, you guys are always doing why, how, so what? You cannot generalize. My suggestion for you, you wouldn't know who is the person who going to evaluate your paper. If that person is a quantitative person, they have this biasness within them. Let me tell you, all of us always make judgments. We cannot say we don't make judgment. So when we are sitting there, when we are a quantitative person, we think quantitative is the best. We look at qualitative, think qualitative is the best. My suggestion for you, Miss Nadia, is use both. The reason why I said that is quantitative will answer the problem, the extent of the problem. How big is the problem? The qualitative will answer the question, why is there a problem? Why and how you can overcome this problem by using all the qualitative mechanics. So if you use quantitative, then the suggestion will be, why not also use qualitative? If you use qualitative, sometimes people suggest, why not use quantitative? If you use both, again, this is your choice, depends on your problem statement. But my research so far, all my research, I've done mixed. But again, it depends on your research problem. Let me tell you that it goes back on your research problem. I cannot say one is better than other. I cannot say which is better. But I say depends on your research problem or your research questions. But it will be good to have both. I hope I answer your question, Nadia. Welcome, Nadia.
Prof. Parmjit,
Yes.
could you repeat what was the hard issue that you mentioned just now? Something to do with inflation?
Okay. I'm just throwing one research topic. The research topic is inflation of grades. Inflation of grades. Are we aware that the last 3 semesters in universities all over, there has been an increase in students' grades, increase in their CGPA grades. And this phenomena is not only in Malaysia, but also overseas. There is a problem. More students are getting better grade. Why? There are some answers about it. So now, is there a problem? Definitely yes. So what if I want to do a fundamental research? I'm not doing anything now because I'm going to hit my 6 series next year. So I'm not putting any proposal. I finished my research already. I just got few more left over to do. If I am doing it, I will do this research. I will do a fundamental issues on inflation of grades. I think that's a very pertinent issue. The problem is there. What can we do to curb this problem? That will be the fundamental research. Not inflation of grades. Did I answer your question, Dr. G?
Yeah, but it's going to be very sensitive.
It is very sensitive, but we do not have to worry, because if it's sensitive, many people will look at the person who's doing it, and we must do it carefully. And you'll become Prof, you become more famous, by the way. By answering this question, it is a sensitive issue, but it's a global phenomenon. In US,
famous and put in the freezer again.
No, you won't be put in a freezer. Don't worry about that. But it is a very pertinent issue. Is it a pertinent? Answer is 100% yes. If I am still here, I would have done this research. I will do this research for the next FRGS.
What if I make that? Kita memang ada prepare untuk semua. Tapi kalau
I think it's not just the inflation of grades, it's also the inflation of CV. So we have a lot of fakes and scams, where as far as CV is concerned, and they recycle. That's also an issue.
Yeah, sure. No, what I'm saying that is, but because of like under KPT, if we say inflation of grades, it's a very pertinent issue. It very so much related to the fundamentals of kementerian, Also, yes, but I agree with you. But if you do inflation of grade, it will be a very pertinent issue. In terms of importance, 100% is there. But depends how we write the proposal. That's the most important thing. Okay,
Parmjit, I won't disturb you anymore. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. G, you take care.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, Prof. I think no more question from the audience and also from the chat.
Yes.
Yeah. So shall we move?
Yes, I think, yeah. Cukup, I think so.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof, for
Okay.
your very verbal sharing and insight about the tips in FRGS application. Yeah.
Most welcome.
So, and thank you to the audience today. And I hope 2023 UiTM will be great and also will secure more grant as far as this year. Yeah, Prof.
Yes,
With
agree.
your support and everything. Thank you so much, Prof.
Okay, Dr. Rafeah, you take care, my Rafeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Maybe we have a photo session, Prof.
Okay, boleh.
Secretariat, is there any? Are you ready? So open the camera, everyone. So 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, Prof. See you
Okay,
next
thank you very much.
time.
Okay, bye-bye.